Hey, vinyl community, Jeff here, back again. Got some stuff in, wanted to talk about it. Let's the topic today, though. Let's talk about the influence of other people in the VC and how that plays effect. Share your stories below in the comments if you have any stories like this. So, I watch a lot of videos, like I'm sure a lot of you do. And a lot of times, in case of making videos, a lot of times I feel more like it's show and tell, you're just kind of like, hey, look what I got in. But occasionally, I'll be watching videos and people be talking about bands and bands I've heard of. It's show and tell or whatever of stuff that they like. A lot of times I'm familiar with the bands. A lot of times I have it. It's just great to see other people get it, discover things. But there are lots of times where people are, and that's why you watch a lot of different people on a lot of different videos. You find, people have stuff that, oh, well, I never heard of that, or didn't know so-and-so had that out, or didn't know of that side project. A lot of things you learn, which is kind of one of the real reasons we all do videos. We hope to share a little bit of maybe something somebody didn't know. It's not just show and tell of, hey, look, I got the new regular album by so-and-so. But, you find, people that listen to stuff that maybe you're not as familiar with, and then that you learn about new things. And that's what the topic of this is. So influence, I look at videos and people show things and I'm like, wow, that sounds really good the way they said that. You may go online and listen to it. You may make an action on it. And in this case, I took action on it. I went out and tracked down these records. So most all of these, at least the first few, are they stem from me watching a video by Matt over at the Accusation Network. Now, Matt and I have a lot in common as far as, musical taste. Now, when it comes to metal, in this case, I watched a video, and he did have some of that, and with some of the new metal releases and stuff. But he also was referring to a bunch of bands and, talking about doom and stuff. Now, doom metal depends on the style. If it's not death, doom, or atmospheric, dark, death, black doom, or whatever, then if it's regular, classic doom metal, then I'm going to be into it. And he's describing some of these bands. So the first one that not the first one, this is the first one that I picked up, and I don't even know how to pronounce this, New Propter, pretty much a one-man band. Let me take it out of this shiny cover. Sometimes the covers get in the way, flat black. To me, this looks very, to me, I would have thought, if I saw this in the store, death metal. That just looks like, the logo's not as bad as some extreme death metal, but, just the cover and everything, just dark. It's pretty much a one-man project. So I would have not given this a time of day if I saw this in the wild. So if it wasn't for, Matt going on and on about this, he had criticisms, and he had a lot of descriptions about it. Very much classic doom. You do hear pieces of Trouble in here, so if you're into Trouble, that kind of doom. At times, the vocalist crosses into that Eric Wagner sound, though doesn't stay there long, and he doesn't maintain that. Matt's criticism was the vocal styles he thought was a little weak. Now, I admit there are some, first album, as far as, this band, so... But I went online and listened to it, and I thought, I kind of dig that. It's classic, yet it's raw. As far as the vocals, it's, whatever. I don't know how to describe it. But it wasn't much of a turn off when I heard it. Now, the other thing he spoke of that really, perked my attention, of course, was he talked about the lyrics being similar to Trouble in the sense that they are biblical references, things along that line. And so I'm like, okay, hey, right up my alley, of course. That would make sense, right? So I checked it out, and sure enough, Black Mass, Through the Smoke, Burning the Believers, Before the Eyes of God, the fall of Christ. Not 100% sure he does quote Bible references, says the Lord's Prayer, things like that. I haven't examined the lyrics real closely to see if it's pro all the time or if it's just... All I know is I have enjoyed what I've heard. It's got decent sound, decent production, good album. Anyway, I'm glad that I watched that Matt said that and said a couple things that perked my attention as far as the lyrics and everything. Anyway, next up, Altar of Oblivion. This band's been around for a little while. They have like 3 albums and a handful of EPs. I knew nothing about them, never heard of them. Again, there's so many bands like this that slip under the radar. So this is on Orange Crush and Bloody. It's a pretty vinyl. It's kind of smoky orangish to me. Again, Doom, Denmark band, Doom metal, knew nothing about them, not sure, The Seven Spirits, you've got all kinds of interesting, it almost looks like the earth is opening, people are falling in. I don't know, imagery of a, lake of fire type thing. That's it, lake of fire. The guy has got the seven spirits. I don't know a lot about these guys. Again, you do find there are quotes in here in the lyrics at the songs of Revelation and things like that. So there is some biblical imagery here. I don't know, again, pro, con, or is it just the theme that they use? The seven spirits, there's a lot of sevens mentioned in the book of Revelation, seven vials, all that stuff. So anyway, a lot of tie-ins there. Went on Hell's Headbangers site, found this because Matt mentioned it, and I guess that's why he picked it up. I don't know, it was $8.88. I couldn't go wrong giving it a shot. Grab that. Now I'm on the lookout because they do have other albums out that are earlier. That's like 2019 or so. So yeah, I really enjoyed that. I checked out more of their stuff digitally, and now on the lookout for more of their stuff. And of course, this one, again, he said the same thing. You wouldn't think of what the style was from the band name. Satan's Fall. You got this apocalyptic looking stuff. And he, talked about how this is not in any way extreme. It's more or less a classic metal, edgy metal sound. Let me see. This was on. Well, there's this on different colors. I got the white version. I can't remember exactly what he said about it, but the name itself kind of, obviously it sounds kind of religious. Final Day sounds kind of apocalyptic, earth burning, stuff like that. A view of what people might think the end times, or a quote unquote end of the world scenario. I went online, found that they have an official video. This is actually on High Roller Records, and so there's a hype sticker there. Went online, found one of their official videos, listened to it, and I wasn't real keen on the guys' vocals. They were rough. And so the video musically was great, traditional type sounding metal, throwback, new wave of, but not, just really heavy, decent heavy metal, with a grunge, just a gruff vocal. Again, it didn't totally turn me on as far as initially. And then I went and listened to some of their other stuff, found out that's not how he always sings, and that I like the other stuff. And so I went ahead and, again, grabbed this one at the same time from Hell's Headbangers. Went ahead and grabbed it, and it's, like I say, the vocal style is a little bit of a variety here and there. But overall, I'm like, wow, yeah, these guys are really good. Interesting stuff, and a lot of the imagery, a lot of the religious imagery throughout these songs, too. Juggernaut, There Will Be Blood, The Flamekeeper, Final Day, End of the World type scenario. Again, not sure if there's necessarily a Christian bent to them. Obviously, a lot of Christian and biblical imagery, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the guys in the band are necessarily, promoting it faith-wise. So I want to examine the lyrics a little bit more, but I will say musically, and theme-wise, it was a very good album. And so, anyway, those are the ones that Matt discussed. These were the three that jumped out at me, and I checked them out, and I was thrilled to do that, to finally get my hands on those. This last one actually dates back a couple weeks. I've had this for a couple weeks now. Jeff at Jeff Various Vinyl, he did, his last two videos were all about his doom metal discoveries. And he hears a lot of people mentioning stuff, and he did a lot of research and started listening to a bunch of these bands online to find out the ones that he thought were worth purchasing and spending his money on. And he mentioned a bunch of them that were very intriguing to me. This was the final one that really got me, is The Watchers. And of course, the name itself was intriguing, and because I too, like he had mentioned, have done a lot of study in like ancient Near Eastern studies. Actually, these books right here, the Pseudepigrapha, and this is the Book of Enoch, the Angels, the Watchers, and the Nephilim. I have done some lectures on these that I've given at conferences, and I have to turn one of the lectures into a chapter in a book. And so I pulled these out to reference footnotes and stuff, and to make footnotes for the stuff that I quoted. So that's why those are out. But anyway, The Watchers kind of intrigued me, and, you know, he talked about it being stoner, doom metal, and I went online and checked it out, and I'm like, oh, I am digging what I hear. This is their EP that came out first, I believe, and, you know, it's just got 5 songs. And I was like, okay, I'm going to grab that. They had this at Amazon, and so I went ahead and grabbed it. Now, when it came, I have not had much problem. I won't complain. I have not had much problem with Amazon and shipping. I hear a lot of horror stories. Recently, 2 cases in 2 weeks where they shipped an album to me in just a bubble wrap. No cardboard or anything. This was one such case, and as you can see, it got pretty bent there and there, a little bit there. So, now, I'm not a big stickler on the cover. I'm not going to be that big about it, but I don't feel that I should pay full price for this, but I don't think I don't want to return this to Amazon. I'm fine with it. The album's fine. You know, it's just like, okay, I don't want to pay full price for something that's damaged. So I wrote them, and I'm like, hey, how about a kickback? How about a discount? How about a couple dollars off? I mean, the album itself is an EP. It's like $15, $16. How about $5 off because it got damaged? I don't want to return it. Then I feel like I'm wasting the album. It's going to go into a bin. Somebody else might buy it for even cheap. They're going to lose money. Give me a little bit off. I'll be fine with keeping it. I don't want to lose the album in the shuffle. They refunded all the money. I'm like, you don't have to do that. I told the guy, you don't have to do that. Give me $5 off. No problem, whatever. He wrote it off and gave me it. Anyway, Watchers, great stoner rock with a doom type influence. Great stuff. The album that they had that came out is on my wish list now, but this one was cheaper and much more of a discount. Now it's free. But yeah, so I was impressed. Thanks a lot, Jeff, for sharing that. And there's a bunch of other ones he just mentioned that I also want to check out. But again, this one jumped out because of the name. That's it for now, though. I'm not going to go any further with this. Just, it's great. That's the whole purpose of why we watch the videos. Not only to see the excitement and stories of other people, but, you learn about bands you never heard of. And that's what I learned in this situation and found some really great stuff. Anyway, that's it for now. Thanks a lot. Rock on. Rock hard.